what exactly is the story of Drunk Chara? I promised you many months ago that I make this video, so it's finally here. So what exactly is the story? Well, okay, let's find out. The story takes place in the post-pacifist ending. It follows Chara, who, after returning to their body, regrets their past actions so deeply that they become an alcoholic as an adult. The narrative unfolds in the new, complete block as Drunk Chara, where anomalous users, called anons, and regular readers dive into the story, following by asking questions and providing information to Chara, Frisk, and other characters. Meaning, we the reader were able to influence the story by asking the in-universe characters some question relating their stories, relating their events in the stories, and can influence the story events. The story begins quite simply, but it soon becomes clear that Chara harbors warm feelings for Frisk. Nevertheless, Chara continues to be tormented by their past, unable to forget their action on the Genocide Route. Alcohol becomes the only way they can numb the pain. For most of the story, Chara is in a intoxicated state, only pulling themselves together and quitting drinking towards the end. The comic features three main characters, Chara, Frisk, and Asriel, but the focus is primarily on Chara and Frisk throughout the story. Chara confronts their fears, nightmares, and alcohol dependency, with Frisk providing support and comfort along the way. The block consists of 11 arcs presenting in strict chronological order. So what exactly is the story? Well, let's begin with the first arc. The first arc being called I Have a Block. It's the first introduction story arc of the comic. It sets up the main events of the story and primarily serves to introduce us to Chara, who is immediately introduced to us as a drunken buffoon who is completely unaware that they have a block, which we later on find out was set up by her brother Asriel to help them overcome their depression. Truth or Dare is the second arc, centers around a game of Truth or Dare that unravels Chara's deep feeling for Frisk. This revelation promotes reader to playfully tease Chara, encouraging them to kiss Frisk. Chara, however, refuses and instead accepts the challenge of drinking as much as possible. Eventually, an extremely drunk Chara is escorted home from Grilby's bar by Frisk. Thanks to the askers and anons, Frisk learns of Chara's true feeling, but dismisses them as unbelievable and jests from the anons. While tending to the inhabilitated Chara, Frisk recounts the story of how their brought Chara and Asriel back to life. In the previous timeline, Frisk and Chara were on the verge of destroying the world. However, Frisk ultimately performed a reset. In a new timeline, alongside Flowey and Chara's ghost, they concluded the story with a post-pacifist ending. Frisk then choose to reveal the truth to everyone. Chara's presence within their soul, Flowey's identity as Asriel, and their action during the Genocide Route. Alpha's the Versus method to restore Chara and Asriel to their original forms using an artificial soul for Asriel and a fragment of Frisk's soul for Chara. Not long after Frisk's story time, Chara awakens, snuggling up to them on the couch, confessing their love and stealing a kiss. Overwhelmed by the moment, Chara quickly passes out, leaving Frisk flustered and unsure of what the fuck just happened. The third arc is called Howdy, I'm Beery the Beer. In the third story arc of the comic, the events pick up the following morning. Chara wakes up in the cold sweat after another nightmare, where she there kills Sans and Flowey. Frisk immediately rushes to their side, but trips over a bottle of wine, humorously labeled Frisk. Meanwhile, Asriel reveals that he often jokes around with Chara by drawing on them or recording them while they are drunk, singing songs in Spanish. We also learn that Asriel streams and posts Let's Plays on his Twitch channel under the iconic name God of Hyperdeath. Throughout Chara's off managed to ruin his recording with their drunken addicts. At the same time, Chara and Frisk discusses what happens the previous night. Frisk reassures Chara that they still consider them as friends, which Chara interprets as being Friendzone. Heck, Mami could sing a song about this, as well as Homura and Sayaka from Madoka Magica. But let's just say, at least Chara didn't become a witch afterwards, after being rejected and put in a friend zone. They just returned to their destructive behavior of drinking themselves to such a high degree that they once again ruins Asriel's dream. Anyways, after Frisk had this conversation, they leave Chara to get to work as the human and monster ambassador, while Chara cries into a pillow and afterwards confronted by Asriel. One of the Asker gifts Chara an adorable plushie toy shaped like a beer bottle, which Asriel names Beery. In the same arc, the comic artist also introduces Frisk for the first time. At Asriel's request, Frisk takes charge of monitoring all the alcohol and messages sent through the Ars that influence Chara's more self-behaved, self-hating and self-destructive behavior. One night after Chara has gotten drunk and broke Asriel's computer while playing Skyrim, Frisk comes home and catches a glimpse of Frisk along the way. After taking a shower, Frisk hears Chara crying in their sleep due to nightmares and lies down beside them to confront them. We find out that these nightmares were once again a result thanks to the Askers, who influenced Chara's unconscious by telling them, yo, you don't deserve Frisk, and yo, you're a monster, bruh. Anyways, the next morning, Chara wakes up to find Frisk sleeping next to them. One of the Askers suggests Chara kisses Frisk, but Chara immediately refuses since where's the consent, boy? Chara ain't no Micah Bell. Anyways, after Frisk wakes up, they confront once again Chara and excuses themselves for their previous words and conversation from the day before, and then propose that they are tried dating. Chara is left slightly shocked and Frisk kisses them first. And after Arc 3, they started dating. Wedding is tomorrow, kiddos, is the fourth arc of the comic. Continue directly from the third. Asriel finds a note from Sans stating that the wedding tutorial is happening the next day. Chara, Frisk and Asriel are upset as Sans only informs them about this important event a day in advance. The group quickly heads to Melaton to get help picking out outfits for the wedding. However, when they arrive at the hotel, Melaton slaps Chara hard because Melaton quite fondly remembers that they are quite literally banned them from any Melaton resort after Chara quite literally stripped down quite naked and swam in Melaton's fountain. Chara apologizes for their behavior and Melaton helps them select out. The next day, Chara, Asriel and Frisk travel to the wedding with pə-PY-rəs. Upon arriving, they are horrified to find that Sans had put almost no effort into preparing the wedding. The location is a field with a lone wood guest book hanging above the sign that originally said happy birthday, hastily crossed out with and rewritten as congrats to the wedding. The food, hot dogs. Meanwhile, Sans lingers on the deck chair wearing sunglasses. pə-PY-rəs is furious with his brother's laziness and lack of seriousness, but it's too late to make changes. The guests are arriving and the wedding procession is on the way. pə-PY-rəs quickly sends Chara to greet Toriel. She steps out of a limousine wearing an elegant wedding dress. Surprisingly, she is unfazed, knowing full well who she is marrying. By the way, if you're not already guessed it, Toriel and Sans are marrying in this AU, and even finds it charming. Throughout, Melaton is outraged, feeling that Sans should have made more effort since he is marrying the queen. Frisk, by the way, authenticates the wedding between Toriel and Sans. After the ceremony of events, every single one of the guests relocate themselves to a Melaton resort, since, thanks to Sans' immense preparation, no food can be served at the wedding. Anyways, when they reach the Melaton residence, Frisk announces to all the guests, or mainly the important people from all the guests, that Dea and Chara are dating. Meanwhile, Chara notices Asgore sitting alone and joins them for a conversation. Chara blames himself for the breakup of Asgore's family, then moves to another table to drink. Frisk finds their drunken friend, partner, I don't know. That's confusing as shit. Completely drunken and takes them home before they can accidentally ruin the wedding. Down the Manhole is the fifth arc of the comic, with most of the plot taking place in the Asriel and Company universe and Underfell universe. It begins with Frisk and Chara returning from the wedding. sleeping. Frisk puts a drunken Chara to bed, but Chara secretly sneaks out, suddenly wanting to buy flowers for Frisk. However, they fall into a manhole that leads to the Asriel and Company universe. When Frisk discovers this, they immediately call Asriel and Sans to inform them of the situation and ask them not to tell Toriel to avoid ruining her wedding, but they fail to keep it secret. With Corfra's help, they locate the manhole Chara fell down, and so Frisk decides to jump down after Chara. However, instead of landing in the Asriel and Company universe, they end up in the Undertale universe. Since a new portal won't open for several hours, Frisk agrees to share their backstory with us, the reader. Just minutes later, Undertale Sans finds them and initiates a fight after receiving a lot of emotional damage because of Frisk's emotional-filled backstory, which I won't tell because you should read the story. Meanwhile, in the Asriel and Company universe, Chara is stranded in this universe where a lot of people were, let's just say, not quite fond of the idea of another Chara, since this Chara in this universe is a bloody menace. But they tolerate Chara because they are not like this menace and is most of the time intoxicated and unable to do anything productive. This, of course, is the perfect opportunity for the Chara in the Asriel and Company universe to infiltrate Chara's mind throughout their dreams. However, due to the fact that Chara, or Drunk Chara, is extremely drunk, they can't control Chara's body. As a result, they end up sharing a mind. Inside this shared mental space, the scene is depicted as a large pirate ship floating in an ocean of beer surrounded by empty bottles. Chara is tied to a ship, while as Frisk and Company Chara is floating around. Drunk Chara expresses understanding towards as Frisk and Company's behavior, as there was once like them. Chara explains that they changed only because of their families, friends and Frisk, a sentiment echoed by the commenters trying to convince Asriel and Company Chara to reconsider. However, Asriel and Company Chara reveals their deep hatred for humanity and explains why they are so determined to destroying it by revealing their backstory. To keep it simple, Asriel and Company Chara has a deep resentment towards humanity because of pirates' action. I don't want to go more into this topic since, well, let's just say I would get demonetized if I would go further into the topic. Just know it is bad. After telling Drunk Chara their traumatic past, Asriel and Company Chara triggers their transformation into their true form. A taller figure donning a green poncho with the Delta rune and wielding a long sword. They prepare to kill Chara, but at the last moment, Frisk heroically appears to save Chara. Right at this moment, Chara's mind is filled with music, and at the top of the mess, Frisk appears having mysteriously infiltrated their consciousness. All the characters from Asriel and Company gather around the sleeping body of Frisk and Chara, playing and singing to help Drunk Chara break free. Asriel and Company Chara eventually surrenders, influenced by the comments and the kindness of Frisk, simply running away. The two remaining characters wake up, relieved that they have won. Before they can proceed, everything Chara and Frisk suddenly are sucked back into the portal and find themselves unexpectedly reunited to their world. The two them people, non-binary people, I don't know, are joyfully welcomed by their real family. Chara doesn't celebrate for long, quickly ending up in bed with a terrible hangover. Toriel talks to them about their alcohol addiction, making them reflect once again on changing their lifestyle. Soon, Frisk appears by their side and they peacefully fall asleep together, ending therefore this crossover arc. Relapse is the 7th arc of the comic. Chara visits Grilby's bar only to find out that under Toriel's order, they are no longer allowed to purchase alcohol there. Determined, they decide to head to a human bar instead. At first, Chara spends their time peacefully answering questions from the askers. However, when it comes time to pay, they attempt to use monster coins. Although the coins are made of pure gold, the bartender refuses to accept them. Panicked, Chara flees the bar. Outside, they are confronted by two strangers who want to punish them for their dishonesty. They beat Chara severely, but they refuse to fight back due to their own psychological trauma. Asriel comes to their rescue, but ends up being attacked as well. Once one of the strangers punches Asriel in the face, and he begins to melt in the same way monster with determination do, likely due to the instability of his artificial soul. Asriel transforms into Flowey once again, bringing the arc to a close. As Drunk Flowey is the 8th story arc of the comic. Flowey threatens the stranger who attacked Chara, promised them to kill them, which causes them to flee in fear. Surprisingly, Chara reacts calmly to Asriel transforming into Flowey. It is revealed that due to the instability of Asriel's artificial soul and monster body, he reverts back into a Flowey every time he sustains any kind of damage. While this does not harm him, it causes significant inconsistency in their day-to-day life. With no flower pot nearby, Chara places Flowey into an empty beer jar. Several days passes and Flowey grows increasingly bored in his flower form. Anonymous comment suggests he occupy himself perhaps by filming reaction videos to make things more entertaining. Flowey decides to drink some alcohol. He also begins to playing Truth or Dare with the Asker. Chara eventually returns home and finds a drunken Flowey. One of the Askers jokes about renaming the blog depending on which character is drunk, promoting Flowey to intentionally rename the blog after himself, aka as Drunk Flowey. We learn that Chara has been drinking less and has now been sober for a week. They are actively searching for a job but continues to face setbacks. Suddenly Chara remembers that a few days prior Asriel had replaced all of their beer with juice boxes, revealing that Flowey intoxicated was entirely a placebo effect. Frisk returns home while Chara is discussing job-related topic with the Askers. Chara asks Frisk if they can work at the ambassador, clearly showing their desire to improve themselves and making positive changes in their life. Chara also shares to the Asker their first try with alcohol at Undine's and Alpha's wedding when they were a college student. When they began struggling with issue in school, they drank again, believing it would make them feel better. Over time, this habit evolved into a full-blown addiction. Frisk expresses mild frustration with Chara's reliance on alcohol, but reassures them that they are doing their best to support them overcoming it. Chara go get a freaking job is the 9th story arc of the comic. Chara wakes up from yet another nightmare related to their genocide runs. Meanwhile, Asriel is slowly recovering and Frisk promised to take them to Alphys after work. Chara is also preparing for their first day at the job at the ambassador. At the office, Chara discovers Flowey in their bag. The two exchange exasperated remarks when suddenly Asriel transforms back into his goat-like form, finding themselves without clothes. He hides under a desk. Sans comes to the rescue by teleporting him with clothes for Asriel, but his sudden appearance startles one of the workers, causing them to faint. Chara considers this the worst first day of work ever. Break is the 10th story arc comic. The story opens with Chara in the middle of the night in the kitchen. Despite the concern of the Asker, they are drinking grape juice, not alcohol, as they suggest struggle with insomnia. The topic shifts to Frisk works at the embassy, and we see a dream of Frisk wanting to punch an ambassador from the human side in the face when they didn't agree to one of the monster terms. We see a side of Frisk that we didn't see before. A Frisk who struggles with their fear of hurting others and struggle with anger issues. Frisk finds Chara sitting on the couch and joins them. The Asker tries to dig deeper to help Frisk resolve their issue, but their attempts prove unsuccessfully. The two reminisce about how Toriel and Asriel first learned about Chara's ghost, reminiscing in Frisk's soul. Eventually, both of them fell asleep on the couch. The next morning begins with gifts from the Asker. Chara is flooded with alcohol, chocolate, and random items. It turns out that Core, Frisk, and Asriel staged a rebellion and took a break in the Omega timeline. Fed up with sorting things all the items sent to Chara, the guys decide to focus on breakfast and getting ready to work, but Chara can't help but notice Frisk lingering inside. At work, Frisk encounters the man from their dream. They remain tense and irritable throughout the day. Sensing this, Chara decides to cheer them up by inviting them on a date. Seeking advice, they consult Papyrus and Undine, and they came up with the idea of a double date, Chara and Frisk alongside Undine and Alphys. The group heads to the mountain resort for some much needed relaxation. They have a great time and Frisk finally gets a break they deserve. At the end of the day, everyone gathers around the table when Undine suggests having a drink to celebrate. Chara demonstrates significant personal growth by refusing their favorite wine, staying sober, sober despite pressure from the Asker. And now we finally come to the final arc of Drunk Chara, this being called Final. Final is the 11th and concluding story arc comic. It picks up where the previous part left out. Both couples are having dinner and celebrating their getaway. At the end of the evening, Alphys and Anna return to their room while Frisk and Chara decide to take a walk around the area. During their stroll, they come across a human and a monster in a heated argument. As the monster ambassador, Frisk decides to step in and mediate the conflict. However, unable to harm the anger of either parties, they end up provoking a fight and get caught up in the middle. To protect Frisk, Chara intervenes, pushing them out of the way, putting themselves in harm's path, which results into a fatal wound on Chara's part, which results into their death. In a desperate move, Frisk uses a reset and finds themselves in the distant past, less likely at their last save point, right for the operation to separate their and Chara's soul. The process goes as planned. Frisk's soul is divided into two halves, allowing Chara to exist independently. When Chara wakes up, they are greeted by joyful monster. Sans even gives them a hoodie that is too big for them. At the end of the arc, Frisk and Sans have a private conversation. Frisk explains why they performed the reset and reveals what happened to Chara in the future. Sans offers their support and reassures them that they now have a chance to change everything for the better. The comic concludes on a hopeful, uplifting note. Maybe this time Chara won't be an alcoholic and would probably find a healthier way to deal with their problem. But that is the story of Drunk Chara. I hope you enjoyed this video because I kind of enjoy making this video. I'm not sure if I did, but I did enjoy the story of it. Anyways, now if you excuse me, I want to listen to Game of Thrones. Goodbye for now.